The version 3.0 of the Flares Wizard add-on is finally here. It's a complete rewrite of the add-on, and the lens flares generation is now powered by geometry nodes, which has enabled the inclusion of many exciting new features and improvements. In this video, I will walk you through what's new in this version. Let's get started. Now, pressing the plus button will launch the brand new presets browser. You can press the blank button to add an empty lens flare. Also, you can choose between adding the lens flare to the active object or the objects inside the active collection. You can use this section to filter the presets. In this version, we have 50 presets. To add a preset, just use the button under the thumbnail, and you can hold the control key to replace the selected lens flare. Although the add-on is rewritten from scratch, we have strived to make minimal modifications to the user interface, ensuring that users don't have to relearn the add-on. Similar to the old versions, you can use an object as the target, but now, you can also use objects inside collections as targets. For instance, here I created a new collection for the lamps, and every new lamp will automatically be assigned a lens flare. This improvement not only offers convenience, but also enhances performance, as each lens flare is treated as an instance. The new Instances panel allows you to set the maximum number of instances and the maximum distance between the camera and the target. If you set either value to -1, all available instances will be rendered. Moreover, you have the option to randomize the color, intensity, and scale of the instances. In the blinking section, a new option, Randomize, is introduced to provide each instance with a different random seed. Another significant improvement is the ability to generate instances using the geometry data. For example, we have this plane with some vertex colors. By using it as the target and enabling the Use Geometry Data option, the add-on will generate a lens flare for every vertex. Additionally, I will replace the current lens flare by a simpler one. To do this, I will hold the control key while pressing the load button and try always to opt for a simple lens flare when dealing with numerous instances. Let's change the name of color attribute to color. We can make the lens flares copy the color of the vertices by typing the attribute's name in the color section. Furthermore, any geometry attribute can be utilized for this purpose, such as the UV map. You can also control the intensity or scale of the flares using a vertex group. Simply type the name of the vertex group in the intensity attribute to achieve the desired effect. One interesting feature is the ability to use any object with a geometry nodes modifier. The lens flares will be generated at the outputted geometry. In this example, I stored the scale of the instances as a named attribute named Scale. This attribute can be used to control the scale of the flares. The most requested feature was the ability to use multiple cameras, and now we've made it possible. Lens flares will now be displayed on the active camera, as you can see. Additionally, we've introduced a new real-time obstacles detection solution that is both powerful and user-friendly. To utilize this feature, simply place the objects you want to be used as obstacles inside a collection. Then, in the obstacles section, select that collection, and you're all set. While using this feature, you can experiment with the samples and steps options. However, do exercise caution, as they may be computationally expensive. In this version, we've given some attention to the elements, starting with a new Elements pop-up window. Now, all the elements feature the Proximity Trigger option, which allows you to dynamically adjust their intensity based on the distance between the borders of the camera and the target. For instance, you can set the intensity of an element to 0 and the second intensity to 3. As a result, the intensity will be 3 at the borders and gradually fade to 0 at the center. This mapping is achieved through the element's intensity being linked with the black color of the color ramp, while the second intensity is linked to the white color. The simple element has been renamed to image, and we've introduced a new option called the fading distance. This feature adds a more interesting fading effect to the element. Additionally, for the ring and hoop elements, we've now included the ability to distort the element. The lens flares are best treated as a post-processing effect. That's why we have added some new functionalities to enhance the compositing workflow. In this car scene, we have applied multiple lens flares, and the rendering took 1 minute and 52 seconds in cycles. Now, in the extra options, we have introduced a new compositing section. The Setup View Layers operator will exclude the lens flares collection from all the view layers and create a new view layer exclusively for the lens flares. Notably, this version of the add-on will add only one collection and one object, regardless of the number of lens flares, preventing scene clutter. Moreover, it overrides the number of samples to only one, speeding up the rendering process. In the compositor, I will duplicate the render layer and select the lens flares view layer. Then, I'll mix the two layers using the add blending method. A new render in a different slot only took 40 seconds, almost 3 times faster than the previous render, with no discernible visual difference. This is why we recommend using this view layers method whenever possible. Additionally, you can now generate the AOVs for all the lens flares shaders using the Setup AOVs operator, providing you with more control as they are separated. Please note that this functionality currently works only with cycles. To remove the AOVs, use the Remove AOVs operator, and to restore the view layers, use the Remove View Layers operator. To address potential problems, we have introduced the Lens Flares Planes section in the Extra Options panel. For instance, when dealing with close-up shots, the lens flare planes might intersect with or go behind objects. Now you can easily adjust the position of the planes along their local z-axis using the Global Offset option. Another issue that may arise when using depth of field is the presence of artifacts on the borders. If you don't want these artifacts to affect the flares, you can utilize the Planes Margin option. This option essentially scales up the planes, mitigating the problem. The final option is Relative Offset, which represents the distance between the planes. While it is mainly included for debugging purposes and might not have numerous practical use cases, it is available if needed. With the latest update, there's no longer a need to save a backup of your custom lens flares. All you have to do is set a folder for your custom lens flares in the preferences. We've also made it possible to change the name of the add-ons tab in the end panel directly, eliminating the need to use additional add-ons for this purpose. Moreover, you now have the flexibility to adjust the size of the thumbnails in the presets browser. And you can also change the number of rows and columns as per your preferences. And that's not all. Once the lens flares are generated, they will continue to work even when the add-on is disabled, providing seamless integration with your projects. We hope these enhancements will inspire you to explore new possibilities and take your projects to greater heights. Thanks for watching.